Dear students, today we will discuss absorption of nutrients. In today's lecture, which is very important for all competitive exams and BSc students, absorption of nutrients. प्यारे बच्चों, ये जितने भी हमने नोट्स बनाए इन सब की PDF फाइल हमने वीडियो लेक्चर उसके डिस्क्रिप्शन में अपलोड कर दिए। सभी बच्चे अपने नोट्स डाउनलोड कर लें। Dear students, in today's lecture, we will discuss absorption of nutrients. It is a process in which the nutrients are present in our gastrointestinal tract, and these nutrients are passed into blood and lymph. Site of absorption. Site of absorption of nutrients. As we know, about 90% nutrient substances are absorbed in this small intestine. Dear students, more than 90% of nutrients are absorbed in small intestine. And in this small intestine, the main site of absorption of monosaccharides, glucose, galactose, fructose, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol, vitamins and water. The main site of absorption of nutrients, that is jejunum. In our small intestine, about 90%, and the remaining 10% of absorption of nutrients that occurs in stomach and large intestine. In this part, stomach, some water, alcohol, some drugs like aspirin, disperine, paracetamol, such type of drugs, some monosaccharides, glucose, fructose, and some salts are absorbed in this small intestine. And in this large intestine, its colon part that consists of symbiotically associated microbes like E. coli, and that E. coli bacterium feeds upon, it digests proteins, and these microbes, these symbiotically associated bacteria in this colon part of large intestine produce amino acids, some vitamins, very important vitamins like B complex, B1, B2 and vitamin K. It means in this large intestine, some food substances, some nutrients like vitamin B complex, like vitamin K and amino acids, which are produced by symbiotically associated bacteria, are absorbed in this large intestine. Absorption of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, these are absorbed in simple forms, in monosaccharide forms like glucose, galactose and fructose. Dear students, note down the NEET students, particularly absorption of glucose and galactose that occurs by active transport. In active transport, some carrier molecule is involved. Carrier molecule, and that carrier protein carries these monosaccharides like glucose, galactose, and it occurs against a concentration gradient, means low concentration to high concentration. It means this process, active transport, requires metabolic energy. In carbohydrates, in monosaccharides, particularly glucose and galactose, absorption, and that occurs by active transport, by a carrier molecule, and that carrier molecule requires metabolic energy. But in case of fructose, note down each and every point, very important. Fructose absorption that occurs by facilitated transport. In facilitated diffusion, carrier molecule is involved, but that molecule doesn't require metabolic energy. Dear student, note down, glucose and galactose are absorbed actively. In that process, carrier molecule plus metabolic energy. Both are needed. But in case of fructose, it occurs by facilitated method in which carrier molecule is involved but no involvement of metabolic energy. Transport of glucose, galactose and fructose. Most rapidly transported monosaccharide is galactose. Note down each and every point. Dear students, galactose is most rapidly transported monosaccharide. Second runner is glucose and third runner is fructose. Absorption of amino acids. Absorption of amino acids. It is an active process. It means absorption of amino acids that requires carrier molecule as well as expenditure of energy, metabolic energy, ATP, and absorption of both carbohydrates, monosaccharides and amino acids. It occurs in this jejunum of small intestine. Some amino acids are also absorbed in this upper part duodenum of small intestine. Absorption of water. Absorption of water. About 90% of water that gets absorbed in this small intestine and the remaining 10% of water that gets absorbed in stomach and in large intestine. And absorption of water, it occurs by osmosis. It means transport of water, absorption of water occurs through a semi-permeable membrane. Absorption of salts, electrolytes. Dear students, note down each and every point, very important. Sodium and chloride ions absorption. Sodium and chloride ions. Absorption occurs by both diffusion as well as active transport. Most of electrolytes like calcium, like iron, like phosphate, magnesium, and that absorption occurs by active process. Absorption of chloride and sodium ions, that is by both methods, diffusion as well as active transport. Absorption of salts in this stomach, some salts, and absorption of particularly calcium and iron in this duodenum part, and while the most of minerals, salts, electrolytes are absorbed throughout the length of small intestine, while bile salts are absorbed in this ileum part. Dear students, in today's lecture we have discussed absorption of carbohydrates, absorption of amino acids, absorption of water, salts, electrolytes, and tomorrow's lecture we will discuss absorption of fats and vitamins. Thank you.